is happening. Colombia is going to be sending their planes to help pick up immigrants now because if you guys didn't see this, sometime today, over Sunday as of recording this, January 26th, ICE was sending out illegal immigrants back to Colombia, or at least Colombian immigrants back to Colombia. And the Colombian president said, "Hey, man, I don't want those people here. They were causing some trouble while they were here. That's why they went over there. We don't want them back, man." And Trump said, "Okay, well, I'm going to do a 25% tariff across the board on all Colombian goods." And he said, "Oh, shit, man, I didn't know it was that serious. Let me get you my plane. Just bring them back. My bad, man. Please, no tariffs. No tariffs.
Enforcement is
You're going to screw our economy."
in full effect, with mass deportations underway all across the country. Mexico and Guatemala have already received flights of migrants, while Colombia initially refused before their president reversed course.
You see what I'm saying, man?
Had been threatening Colombia with tariffs
Colombia
over
PM
the
said
refusal,
something?
but
Yeah.
those look like they're no longer needed. And here in the United States, things are running smoothly. Border czar Tom Homan is leading the charge in Chicago as he oversees arrests
turn that up
in
to
the Windy
720,
City.
my bad.
Well, the DA of Los Angeles says it is now cooperating with federal officials to enforce immigration laws. We are also learning that
I don't know if this is necessarily a good thing or not, but this is some straight mafia tactics. Sending something somewhere. No, you don't want what we're sending. Okay, cool. We're just gonna make it very difficult for you to operate until you just allow us to operate the way that we need to do. It seems like with Trump, you're either gonna be in the way, or you're coming with us. You're on the way or in the way. You know what I'm saying?
that ICE has made arrests in Atlanta, as the Washington Post is also reporting that the Trump administration wants between 1,200 and 1,500 migrant arrests a day. So far, their efforts are proving to be successful. DA agents in Colorado arrested 50 illegals this morning, including members of the Tren-de-Aragua gang. Meanwhile, there are other illegals with ties to TDA that were also arrested in San Antonio, Texas, in Nashville, Tennessee.
It's so sad to see that these guys look so young. They just look so young. They had a life ahead of them. They just kind of gave it up for some just hood shit.
It is believed that they were caught and released at the border by the Biden administration back in 2023. CB Cotton has been tracking this all across the country today for us. CB, to you.
Hi, Molly. Well, on the ground in Chicago, President Donald Trump's expanded show of force on immigration is playing out. ICE announcing the start of targeted operations with the help of 5 other federal agencies, to include ones from the Department of Justice. Now, the scale and scope of the arrest are still not clear, but Fox News is told the first arrest was someone who remained in the country illegally despite having killed a 19-year-old woman while driving under the influence.
Yeah, we don't want those people here.
The Justice Department's acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bove was on the ground in Chicago today, telling Fox in part, quote, "This morning I had the privilege of observing brave men and women of the department deploying in lockstep with DHS to address a national emergency arising from 4 years of failed immigration policy." Bove
I could definitely see where even if Tom Homan, excuse me, not Holland, not Spider-Man, Tom Homan, even if all of these agencies are now trying to do the right thing, there's like the generation in America now, my generation, that has kind of grew up kind of distrusting the government and seeing it as being completely inept. And now with new leadership, with people who we deem to be competent, to be able to think with common sense, it's just going to be interesting to see how quick or slow people's trust in government agencies start to turn. Because I still don't want to trust them just openly and blindly, you know? Getting a lot of different agencies involved. Like, it seems to be cooperation, seems to be working efficiently, you would think. But we'll see.
We've also warned that there will be consequences for anyone who tries to stop the deportation efforts. Video obtained by our colleague Matt Finn shows incoming border czar Tom Homan setting the tone for how things will play out.
If you don't want to help, there's no point. I appreciate all the federal agencies here. Again, first one, all the government operations.
I guess that you do need these federal agencies here, just thinking out loud, because apparently some of these local police departments are not operating, or not cooperating, excuse me.
Question from us, from the nation, we're the first. Let's make this the best.
So while Chicago appears to be
also respect for him being out in the front line. This is somebody who was, appointed or nominated. Most of these people would, in the past, talking about government agencies, they would have just sat in an office and collected a nice fat check and sent other people to do the job. Tom is on the streets doing the job himself. You got to respect it.
The start of multi-agency deportation efforts. We know ICE alone has carried out several raids across the country this week, leading to the arrest of Tren de Aragua gang members, MS-13 gang members, murder and rape suspects, and one known or suspected terrorist. Molly.
CB Cotton, thank you. We had reporting this week right out of Boston. All across the country, we've seen this reporting of ICE bringing in suspects and now a multi-agency approach. Tom Homan's boots on the ground in Chicago. This is really clearly an aggressive beginning to the promised plans of mass deportation.
And super encouraging, too. I mean, CB just went down the list. Tren de Aragua, MS-13, murder, rape, terrorist. And you're learning that Tom Homan is bringing all the assets of government together to go get those people. That's awesome. Go.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Faster. And that's what President Trump said. He said, apprehend more people every day. Joe, you were quoting some numbers earlier, like 10 to 15 million or 8 million, whatever you want to call it. Number of people have come in over the last 4 years. To actually deport that number of people in a year, you'd have to be getting like 21,000 a day, okay?
Yeah. And they're saying, hold my beer, hold my chai, I got this.
The president's calling for 1,200, 1,500. So he's doing what he said he would do, focusing on the biggest threats first. And if you live in any of these cities, you got to be saying to yourself, I feel just a little bit safer today because the good guys are going after the bad guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to necessarily feel safer. There's probably tons of people who have a certain level of heightened anxiety with all these different agencies, bodies coming in, people seeing people getting ripped from their homes. I mean, I'm sure when you see it, it's probably a visceral thing in some of these instances. And people who, let's say, have migrated here, who are natural-born citizens, and they're reading stuff on Twitter, they're terminally on the internet, and they're thinking that they're going to get deported, like, I'm sure not everybody is thinking the good guys are doing their thing. There's plenty of people here in America who are against this.
All across the heartland, too, and highlighting Nashville, Tennessee with the Tren de Aragua issue.
What's up, Kev?
Tennessee is, one of the biggest parts of this as they're going after this gang that has now created a foothold in a multitude of cities all across America.
You don't think Tennessee and think gangs, right? You think New York, you think L.A. This is a 90-10 issue, right? Amazing. I got to meet the 10 sometime. In terms of 90 support, getting criminal gangs who came into this country illegally out of here through deportation, 10 support it. Yet, somehow,
no, 10 are against it.
148 Democrats would not support the Laken-Riley Act. How do you explain that? Possibly, that's in the House. How do you explain that to any of your constituents? Like, oh, no, actually, I'm against this because why? It's like saying, I'm against cancer research. That's a really bad thing. Like, that's how bad this is. Democrats have to get on board with this.
I hate this term of logic just because it's like, oh, you think that this whole thing is bad? It leaves no room for nuance because the Laken-Riley this law, and I have no idea, so I don't want to use this one as the example. But especially with these laws, they're so bloated, they're so convoluted. It's just like the Patriot Act. If you said you're not against the Patriot Act, what are you? Not a patriot? But it was for the government having access or increased power for them to be able to spy on you, take your data, go through your data. Just way more gross, like just one more step away from just getting rid of your privacy completely. But that's the Patriot Act. So are you against the Patriot Act? I don't like this kind of course of dialogue. I think it's bad faith. I think it's manipulative and it's gaslighting. And even though this is the side that I technically would be on, we got to call this out whenever we see it.
Because this is why Donald Trump is Donald Trump 2.0 right now in the White House. Right. Immigration was the biggest issue in this campaign, maybe outside of men competing against women in sports, which is very underrated as far as being an issue, and the economy as well. So, look, we have laws. We have to enforce them. 2/3 of the American people, according to like CNN polls, support mass deportation. So get on board or, roll the dice and take your chances, Lisa.
And speaking of getting on board, Colombia has quickly changed its tune as far as allowing migrant flights back in.
Well, yeah, and President Trump gets knocked a lot for his use of tariffs, but this is where it comes in, right? You need that leverage over them to get them to acquiesce. It worked with Colombia. He threatened a 25% tariff on Colombia's imports And so it worked for him. And we've seen things like there was a Department of Homeland Security intelligence report.
You can't be surprised when asked what is your favorite word, and he says tariffs, that he's not going to start using that word more when he's in office. You know what I'm saying?
That Maduro's Maduro regime was releasing prisoners from Venezuela that were coming here via caravans as well. So how many of these countries are going to
and like his favorite farm animal, a cow,
want to take back, terrorists, gang members, criminals? So you have to have some means to force them to do so. And it has an impact as well. I mean, we even saw at the end of November that Mexico's peso and Canada's dollar dropped after President Trump threatened them with tariffs to get them to step up on illegal immigration. We saw the use of tariffs work during his first administration as well, when he threatened Mexico, and then they all of a sudden decided to step up to the plate. So I think he's using it very
Trump knows exactly where to hit people, right in their wallets.
wisely, and today demonstrated that with Colombia.
By the way, if I could jump in here real quick, Jackie Heinrich reporting that Colombia is now reversed its decision and is now, quote, offering his presidential plans to help, bring deportees from the U.S. back into the country.
I love that he's sending his presidential plane, or a presidential plane. It may not be the, Air Force One for Mexico or for Colombia, but maybe Air Force Two.
It's working.
Little change of tune, right? Yeah.
In less than one day, the guy goes from no deportation flights to my country to we can use my plane to get it done.
Amazing.
And Trump was the guy in the middle of all that. All right, the list of criminal migrants keeps growing.
I think that's an epic. I don't know how to say that, but that's epic. That's epic. And it's epic in the sense that Trump has the ability to get shit done. But some of it is so mafia-like that it's like, once more, you're either in the way or you're on the way. And I hope he stays true to this course of being pro-America, anti-war. Let's make everybody win type shit. Let's make America win. And so long as that stays that route, we're good. That can go real dark real quick if we're not careful. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, then please like the video, subscribe, and if you really like it, then share it with some of your friends. My goal here is to spread a positive message while sprinkling my 2 cents on big topics like American, Indian, and world geopolitics, and even small stuff like Twitch drama and online debacles. And if you want to see it live, come join me over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/ActuallyElrod. That's where I'm going to do all my reactions, and after the reactions, that's where we get down a game. And if you're like, hey, I have a video that I want this dude to sprinkle his 2 cents on, then come over on my Discord and let me know and join the community there. And while we're at it, I have to say thank you to everybody who has made that Discord just so poppin'. I never thought I'd have a Discord that's so flowing. It's really cool to see. Shout out to you, Bobby, Omni, Demon, all of you who have been in there who are just super active. Logie, you're the man. Logie is the one who's like modding and helping run the server, so thank you, Logie. Lastly, I challenge you. I have a challenge for you. Make somebody laugh today. We all know there's enough hate and vitriol in the world. If energy is contagious like the flu, then let's spread and get everyone contagious with our positive energy, right? Not negative energy, because there's so much of that. And if we could just be a small little change in someone's day, then you never know. Maybe that's the thing that starts shifting this world to a happier, healthier, just better place. And with all of that said and done, thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.